officially, as always, I'd like to start with a thanks for the opportunity to play and experience and explore the world that they exist in. And the willingness to follow those stories where they lead is also a very big and good reason for me to say many, many thank yous for that. As far as today, and with those few questions phrased and out there in the ether, this is officially In the Shadow of the White City,
315 more on Friday.
Season 2, Epilogue, Impossible Future Conquests. Now, when we last left our protagonist of Dalton, they were in, for the most part, shambles. They had experienced a major setback and a minor loss in regards to the overall general malaise. Dia and David, having found a place to lay low in Chicago, died for the day, secure in the fact that with any luck they would not be in fact found. So we're going to start with a quick rouse roll for Dia, and then launch into the adventures of what's taking place in the aftermath of the many horrors visited upon the Troupe in their visit to Milwaukee. So as the sun dips below the horizon line and night falls like a ton of bricks, Dia is roused to immediate consciousness with the outcry of their beast clawing at their insides and demanding sustenance. Being in the Chicago area, being specifically in Chicago, has an immediate uptick in stress. Chicago is the mecca of most societal kindred in the area. It is the milestone to which everything else is compared. It is also, as the gleaming gem of the Camarilla, the last place one would like to trespass against the traditions of domain, or shatter, break, or otherwise twist any of the traditions of the tower. So awakening with the beast clawing at Dia's insides and realizing that Raz has somehow managed to disappear since you've all alighted, with David being, for lack of a better word, lost in a general malaise. There is an overwhelming sense of depression about him. Seems as if Dia may not know everything that took place in Milwaukee. Knowing enough is another matter entirely, but everything is still up in the air. So with the beast clawing at Dia's inside, what are their first actions of the evening?
You act like somebody killed your puppy. Fine, I guess I will have to handle everything myself as per usual. And then they step off to the side and look through the last thing that they really have on themselves, because they never even got to go back and get their car or their clothing. So
No, they did not.
That's gonna be a mess of some sort to handle later. But for now, they open their phone, look through their contacts for Chicago.
Okay. Well, in that being the case, let's start with an understanding of where Dia actually is. Where's Dia's hunger at currently?
Pretty sure they're only at 2.
Okay.
Yeah, because they were at 1 last time, and then they failed this one, so it's a 2.
Okay.
That's a bit more peckish than normal, but
between that and the stress of being completely out on a limb, it is considerably more pressing, predominantly because you literally are out on a limb. You are in a city unannounced, having been driven out of another city on a rail, basically, with two kindred either flagging or completely into the land of the dead, with David experiencing the full weight of whatever actions they taken in Milwaukee, with one of the members, a surprise member of the troupe, having disappeared before managing to resurrect for the day. All the same, compiling the information that they are immediately aware of using the whiteboard as a base. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll in intelligence and etiquette, with any bonuses you may have for status at it as well?
Intelligence and what?
Intelligence and etiquette. Utilizing every resource and utilizing every bit of contact information they have for the many dead drops and numbers that should be in persistence, and finding a way to reach out to the degenerates of the city in the area. There is a welcoming kindred that Concordia would know would be most welcoming to most members of the clan, just as a matter of cause, just as a matter of hospitality. Unlike New Orleans, there is no Grand Dame Morgaine to welcome visitors to the city. However, the Toreador in and of themselves hold certain truths to be more than self-evident. And so Dia, utilizing her information as to how the clan has broken down across the Midwest, reaches out to Sophia Eyes, and a assistant also run roughly of equal status to Dia themselves. Sophia dances at quite a few clubs throughout the city, and it always holds court at the Admirable, which is a little over 4 miles from where Dia currently is holed up. Connecting with Sophia would give Dia an opportunity to potentially meet other members of the clan in the city and provide sustenance of some sort, provide some semblance of hospitality.
Well, then that sounds like a plan. The other part of that is they would need to find clothing, because obviously I cannot dress in these same clothes I have been in after a scuffle and all that they have been through. They need fresh clothing. They have to be in the right mindset. So the first is to call Sophia and see if they're about, and then procure clothing on the way to Sophia, hopefully.
Well, luckily for you, being roughly where you are, you all passed a mall roughly about 4 or 5 miles north of where you are, northeast of where you are. There is a mall just off of Lincoln Avenue that you know should have a few clothiers still open and still available to purchase. The matter most pressing, however, is funding. You did not have an opportunity to go back for your bags, your card, or anything else before you all were absconded away from the hotel.
Would they have a maybe branch of like a local bank that? Oh, actually, it's late at night. There's no. Oh no. Huh. Well, they'll have to do something on the fly and maybe persuade somebody they seduce and persuade somebody they find into paying for her. See how that goes. At least until they can find a way to get access to their things or get a replacement credit card of some sort.
Okay, so let's treat that much like a hunt, because with it being important enough to put off finding resources to potentially revitalize Dami and Abner, and with it being important enough that it takes precedence over just going to meet another member of their clan to find the help they need, it would be something that would take up a predominant amount of their immediate focus, finding the necessary items, i.e. the funding, the money, the clothing, to present the image that they would like to present. As such, would you be so kind as to... Let's conduct a hunt, shall we? Would you be so kind as to roll charisma and subterfuge? Okay, so with fate standing in the way of such things, would you like to succeed at cost?
No, no. They will take what fate has handed to them and maybe use that and turn it into their impetus for gaining aid from Sophia, basically.
Okay, so hunting for a particular mark to find, to gain financial backing, and to get the clothing to present the image that Dia would like. They're unfortunately out of sorts. They're a little out of practice with having to scavenge and put things together on the fly. As much has become obvious as having visited several watering holes and making several immediate come-ons. Unfortunately, the ebb and flow of the city very much works against their efforts. They are completely unsuccessful at obtaining the funds to do so. And looking quickly at the clock, while the beast is a little closer to the surface than usual, what's most pressing is the fact that the time has petered away. Sophia, at this point, with it roughly about 8:30, with travel time, would be preparing to end their set, and the time for you all to meet grows nigh. So stuck in the clothing to which they had survived Milwaukee, because there's no real other way to state that fact. They survived Milwaukee. Their gift of gab getting them out of the bulk of what befell Dami and Abner. And it's time to make that meeting. With travel time, you'll barely get there fashionably late.
She's feeding.
Well, they will, they will go and hopefully there's no like cover charge, because otherwise they're not going to be able to get in right.
Unfortunately, fate is a very cruel mistress, and arriving at the Admiral, that very real concern smacks Dia across the neck and shoulders. There is a cover charge even for feminine displaying persons such as Dia. The question whether Dia was born female or male very much places the doormen at a moment of pause. So while the cover charge for women is only $5, the cover charge for men is in fact $25. So they are torn between either, and the sad fact that Dia does not have access to any funds makes either and both considerably outside of what's possible.
My dear man, I understand that you have to follow the rules, and I'm not pressing the matter with that, but perhaps, maybe perchance a piece of paper and a pen and a message given to one particular dancer, since I may not go in.
What sort of message? Why don't you use your phone?
She's a bit old school.
What's their name? What's the message?
Sophia. And an old friend has stopped by to see you if you would like to step outside and chat.
Hang on 1 second. And he gets on the wall and he Yeah, show me your friend. It's Sophia. Yeah. Okay. They said she'll be along as soon as she can. You want to step to the side, let the line pass?
Most definitely, no problem. And they will, trying not to make any trouble, step to the side.
It takes as long as you think it would. With a member of your clan dancing and flitting through their chosen environment, you get a chance to see the ebb and flow of the many social strata who decide to visit the Admiral. And unfortunately for you, though you try to rise above the stereotypical elitism present and prevalent throughout your clan mates, you are not impressed. They are the workaday stars of their environment. They are the lightly blue-collared individuals who come with their barely clean and overly perfumed and cologne presences. You see more blue jeans than you thought were possible to have been made. You see more polos and gym shoes than you find socially acceptable. You find in the line several gaudily dressed and gaudily jeweled gentlemen who are attempting to impress by their 10-karat gold pieces and the heavy chains that are cheaply made but look ostentatious. You see things that offend the very sensibilities that have allowed you to live as long as you have. And finally, Sophia emerges, dressed in a fur coat, bikini top, and a skirt short enough to stir fantasies of the more celluloid variety. I didn't get a chance to finish my set. I was hoping you even being late, that you would have been here roughly a half an hour ago, but all the same, it is a pleasure to see you, Miss White. I'm Sophia, and there's no doubt that there's a physical perfection about her that is designed to elicit the most lustful and lewd thoughts, and it is clear why she was chosen for immortality.
Enchanté. Gorgeous. It is a pleasure to meet you as well. Thank you for seeing me. And while I do understand that I should have been here in half an hour early, Chicago is much larger than I thought and got a little lost. Please forgive me.
Of course. And what did Annabelle say? Better late than too early. I forget. It's not that important. I don't go for all of those airs. But listen here, Chica. I got to dress, so I'll get you over to Urzuli down at Redno, and then I have a couple of things that I need to do. I know that you're like Nicole's best girl or best guy or whatever, so I'm gonna do my best, but Urzuli is Urzuli and she's got her own thing going, so it's not much I can really do about that, okay?
Any help, Angel. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure thing. So like you don't need anything in terms of like a bite to eat, and when she says a bite to eat, instead of doing the typical miming a bite, she rubs the knuckle of her finger against her nose, like it in fact is what it is, a drug, like it is nose candy instead of a bite for the stomach.
That pauses them for a moment. I could use a little something, but I am a little confused as to how these things go here.
Well, technically, you're not supposed to hunt anywhere near the rat because you have been presented to Prince Jackson, and honestly, as long as you don't get caught, and I'm not going to rat you out, you do what you need to, but I do have a couple of places that I could take you. There's you do take fresh, right? You're not one of those, garbage bin divers and take the bag stuff.
Darling, do I look like a garbage dumpster dive sort of person? No, fresh, please.
Okay, well, we won't bother going by Edzok, but there's this kid, one of the hounds who handles a lot of blood. Mr. Darcy, Mr. David. Anyway, we'll go by. They operate out of a fucking shelter up off of Morris, and I will go by. We'll say hi, and see if he has anything for you. But I think he does the bag stuff too. No, we're not going to go that way. Anyway, let me go get dressed. I'll be right back out. And she heads back in, and there's going to be another about 35, 45 minutes.
Yeah, and with that going, I will use that time to... Now, Nicole, do I, in knowing them, know that they will take text messages, or are they strictly phone call sort of person?
They are strictly phone call sort of person, and as nondescript, non-informational as possible. Nicole is very much in line with the idea of not using modern technology because it gets easy, it becomes habitual, and you will slip up and cause a potential risk to the masquerade by revealing too much information.
But they are the only other person that would probably have access to a way to get me money or get access to my things enough to get me money. So I'm kind of stuck with that. Because I can't call Geneva or Geneva unless yeah, rocking a hard place. Wonderful.
Yep, stuck out on a limb, and as far out enough to hear the brake beginning to crack under your weight. It is definitely a precarious position. Racking your brain for whom and how to contact and get things moving or put yourself in a slightly better position is extraordinarily far more difficult without your typical means, i.e. money, and having some information, some foreknowledge to utilize. Chicago is very much a metropolis. It's far too large to get things moving without having either or both at your disposal. And as you're scrolling through your phone, looking at the few numbers you have saved, looking at the few messages that you've sent, you realize that this is not the sort of place where you would thrive without having spent some time to plan ahead. It's too large, it's too much going on, and even here, as you stand just outside of the periphery of the security of the place, you watching the cars move by and the hustle and bustle of the street, it is nearly overwhelming. Just the lights, the sounds, the constant movement. Dalton's active, but nowhere near this active. The constant trains moving in the distance of Dalton, a sound you didn't realize that you would miss. Here, the sounds in the distance are sirens, cars, or people. There's the neon of the Admiral itself, and there's the constant ebb and flow of people entering and exiting. It's easy to get lost in the shuffle. It's easy to get lost in the sound. It is easy to be overwhelmed and overly bombarded, overly stimulated. And before you realize it, the annoyingly long time that you thought would be forever has passed, and Sophia is there at your shoulder. My car's right this way, girl. Come on, let's go.
Putting on a smile like they could wait all night and following Sophia.
As big as Chicago is, you are surprised with how congested the traffic is. What should take, based on how far you know that you've traveled, should take in Dalton, or would take in Dalton, about 5 to 10 minutes. Here, it takes right at 20. And you find yourself at a video rental place. It's a family video store. Devious as she is, in fact, one of the posers, much like yourself. There isn't a canvas or a musical instrument or a song that she is prone to. She's not one of the artistes, though she would probably tell you otherwise. Her walk is definitively sexually predatory. She walked with every intention to capture as many glances and looks as she can. Her sexuality is both a shield and a weapon against everyone.
Just keeping up with her, looking like they're meant to be there, head held high, shoulders back, swaying, like very much like they suggested that they own the place.
And as you all move into the store and into the back room, the polo-shirted young lady at the cash register looks as if she is in the presence of a facsimile of royalty. And as you all enter, the security that wasn't present is suddenly on you. It is suddenly there. There are two suited gentlemen, clearly armed, though they're out of sight. And the purported manager, you can tell because the shirt is not in fact a polo, but instead a button down in a horribly tacky green and light khaki. We don't have time for any of the foolishness. We're going into the room. And he just nods. Sure thing, Miss Eyes, but normally, I know we normally call it here. I don't have time for that. We're going into the rooms. Could you please open the door? He stands and moves to the shelf along the back wall, pulling it. And as he does, a door inside opens. Inside the space, you can tell from the flashing neons, is in fact a club of sorts. Though the scent of blood immediately hitting your nose lets you know what sort of club this might be. And you are not surprised by the scandalously dressed and scandalously active individuals partying and playing. Back during the late 80s, early 90s, there was a very real blood doll and emo culture. This is one of those hidey holes, a speakeasy where those folks who missed their glory days and the new generation of blood dolls and blood freaks are able to play at leisure, many of them acting and cavorting like some movie vampire with their fake fangs and little finger-long blades and what most in the 70s and early 60s would call Coke spoons, but they've been sharpened so that they are in fact blood spoons. A little slash, a little paper cut, get the blood going, and able to lap it up with all due pantomiming of vampire they've seen in movies and films. The place is cheap. It's offset by the mirrors reflecting the lights and the strobe effects from the various strobe lights along the far back room, flickering and glinting through the pumped in smoke machine. All right, you've got, and she looks at her imaginary watch, we've got a few minutes for you to make yourself at home, and I will meet you at the bar. And she moves off into the smoky haze of the room.
I'm trying so hard not to cringe. But food is food. So I look around, and is there any specific way how this would work for them? Or do they just pick somebody that looks interesting and chat them up?
Well, there's the wham bam sort of take as you wish, or you could slowly groom them and try for seduction, but it is clear that everyone's here for a similar thing, be it the full bore near sexual acts that take place or the full bore just exchanging of blood and the whole facade of what they think is a dark and twisted vampire experience. And as you're standing there trying to decide, a gentleman who beneath the face paint, beneath the grease paint that they smeared over themselves could be no more than maybe 19, maybe 20, you hope, immediately comes on to you. Aren't you enchanting? I haven't seen you here before. I'm Marius. And dressed in his all black and clearly older sister's net shirt. Cuts an interesting figure if you're into that sort of Dollar General vampire aesthetic.
Aren't you a adorable. Come.
The dark impulses can be entertaining. Hang on one second. Sorry about that. Aaron had just got home.
Okay, understand.
So, with Marius using every come online, it is very difficult to cut through the bullshit and get down to business, because he believes that he is charming and that he is a creature of the night. His lack of experiences with the world at large do a good deal towards, well, not quite souring the mood, but his pretension and his working at it. It makes him seem considerably far more immature than his years. Seem far more desperate. He has the thing that he needs, and yet he seems the sort to talk himself out of a sure thing.
I very pointedly put my finger to his lips and shush him, showing sign.
I've never.
Trust me, I am far more experienced than you know. If you let me do this the way that I normally do, it will be very easy for you. Okay. Just nod your head yes.
He looks at you and swallows very, very hard, and his heart rate picks up exponentially, and he, for the very first time, begins to look closer to his actual age. And as he begins to sweat from the stress, and there's a decidedly confused growth in his pants, he nods, swallowing very hard. Yeah, it's okay.
And I give him a very gentle brush of lips across lips. No tongue, no anything serious, just a very good boy, just across the lips, and take his wrist to my mouth so that he can watch, because this is what he wants, this is his dream, and feed.
As you lap gently at the blood welling there, his eyes large and clearly taken to the most orgiastic ecstasy that he has ever had in his short life, you are sure from the many years of experience that Dia has that Marius will and is imprinting on this moment. You are sure from the bright, fresh flavorfulness of his blood, positive that this is his first on a multiplicity of stages. And the subtly sweet scent of watermelon rind mixing with the coppery iron in the air lets you know that he is completely and totally pleased with this moment.
And of course, I take my hunger back down to one I don't want to kill. And when we are done, I, of course, seal the wound and look at him. Where are you from?
Oh wow. Oh wow. From Park Oak. I mean, Oak Park. I have lived for. I'm sorry, I can't keep up the fantasy. That was just too great. It was. Oh God, that was wonderful. I don't. Oh, wow. And you can tell that there are tears.
I can't. I pat him very gently on the cheek. You might want to go get some juice and something to eat. But I have somewhere to be. Thank you, darling. And I stand, turn, and head to the bar.
As you make your escape quickly enough that he doesn't have an opportunity to respond, and that saves you from the many platitudes and the many excuses to try again. He'll be better next time. You make it to the bar as Sophia is mid-feeding on the bartender. The bar back has clearly been fed on as he's vaping, leaning against the back cooler. And the bartender has the most pleased look on their face possible. They couldn't be happier if they had died in that moment. And you can tell that as Sophia pulls away that they very much and very actively would have done so. They would have given that drop and the last one behind it willingly. And as you close, you realize that unlike you, she didn't have the same luck. She literally utilized the more than attractive siren call of the degenerate's presence, the aura, the magnified exponentially. Because as she wraps up feeding, there are others who seem to have been swept along in that moment of pleasure. And she pulls away with a kiss, and the bartender takes a second, head down, leaning against the cooler, very, very moist in the moment. Sophia looks at you with a smirk. Well now, you finished far sooner than I expected. You guys definitely do things a little differently, I'm taking it. Ready to go?
More than thank you.
Moments later, you find yourself at Red Note 5. Red Note 5 is the antithesis of what this is. This was a back room speakeasy, and you're sure that there are not many people that know of this place as far as kindred are concerned, considering that it was so sparse on actual active kindred. There wasn't any of the pissing contests that normally arise when new kindred are put in the same space at the same time. Red Note 5 is the antithesis of that. Everywhere that you look, there are signs that here there are actual monsters lost in the crowd. You see people dancing, and it is not the dancing that you have grown accustomed to. It is full on sex with clothes on. It is full on in the moment, bass pounding, variations on twerking, and very much dry humping. It sets your teeth on edge because this is, without a shadow of a doubt, how many urban clubs are viewed. And yet here before you, utilizing those stereotypes and those tropes, are kindred of every shape and stripe, mixed and mingled in with the crowd of kind, having the time of their nights.
Taking a very deep, fortifying breath and wading in.
As you all make your way across the floor, a tall gentleman, roughly just over 6 feet, maybe 6'1", face pops up in the crowd. Sophia, what's up, girl? And gives her a hug. Who's your friend? And he offers his hand. I'm Bennett.
Offering my hand back, but not like a manly handshake. Fingers to his palm. Concordia. Pleasure.
Oh, I think I heard of you. You were, help me out here, Sophia. Boy, move. You don't have any idea who this is. I think I could. Weren't you on that movie that I like watching? Boy, you better stop. This girl is not for you. Everybody's for me, and I'm for everybody. I'm just a good host. Anyway, Concordia, I'm Bennett. If you need anything, look for me, ask for me. I'll be floating around. Sophia, be good. Don't start no fight tonight. And he heads off into the crowd. I'm sorry about him.
Fighting?
I'm sorry about him. No. I just don't put up with no disrespect from anybody.
As you shouldn't. Come. Show me around.
As you all continue through the crowd, you make it into the VIP section. It's clear that Sophia is a regular of sorts here, if not full-on actual, just plain old regular, because there are faces in the crowd popping up, smiling and nodding in her general direction, glasses raised, and the dame herself, Urzuli, that you've heard more than a little bit about. Urzuli, as far as the scuttlebutt is concerned, was responsible for what went down at the Queen of Spades. She's purportedly, her and her right-hand woman, Mama Walde, were responsible for what went down in the VIP, which caused the Queen of Spades no longer being in existence. And try to be angry though you might, because that it was a landmark, that was a halcyon, that was a temple to the excess and true more than fashionable excess that is the benchmark and hallmark of your clan. It was the center of the world in Dalton. It was a place for as many feedings as you could stand, so long as you didn't shit anywhere near the building. So no dead bodies, even though accidents happen, it was your responsibility to ensure that they happened as infrequently as possible. The Queen of Spades was a temple to the Toreador in Dalton. Its like will never return, because Von Evan has run the Queen of Spades since just after the founding of the village, and now it's gone. But as you greet Urzuli and the clear, either Jamaican or West Indian gentleman on her shoulder, it is hard to be angry at that, because if rumors are to be believed, it was a literal show-stopping moment of entertainment. And she stands statuesque, her skin the color of caramel kissed by the sun, her hair large and vibrant, and she looks like an Amazon beauty from the days of myth and legend given flesh. Her dress draped across her, highlighting the very full hips and long legs, designed to tease the imagination while covering everything, making you stare.
I think I might actually be smitten.
Well, damn, Sophia, who's your friend? And she breaks with the gentleman on her hip and makes her way to you. Her left hand extended, her right hand capturing yours as you make contact. She looks into your eyes, her eyes dark brown and filled with mischief. Well, damn, girl. You are a sight for not just sore eyes, but anybody's eyes ever. I heard that Nicole Childer was something to look at, and more than that, you are something to dream about, girl. And she leads you in a small twirl, taking in the full sight of you and your ensemble, but more accurately, taking in the full weight of Dia. So, one of us to another, how can I help?
First, let me say thank you for seeing me this evening, and you are breathtaking, if I had breath to take. And kissing her hand. Now, as for what you might be able to do for me, I found myself in a small spot of trouble and having to escape to Chicago. And here we are, and I have no access to my money, nor my things, and I have two near-dead associates to figure out how to put back together.
Well, it's just Rain and us now, ain't it? She says, come on. Let Mama Urzuli help you out. It is what we do after all, because, blood is thicker than mud, and while not all skin is kin, we do our best to make sure that we are all properly appointed. First things first, you look like a size 6, or is it a 5?
These modern sizes are very strange, but 6.
And do you prefer full heel, a demi, or don't tell me you like flats? You have the height on you.
Small stacked heel.
That can be worked out. Let's get you something. My favorite color, as you can tell, is just vibrant, but you look like you like a blue.
I do prefer jewel tones, yes.
Well, hell. Sophia, that little girl from Virginia, could you go find her and bring her back this way? Sophia looks from you towards Julie, and you can tell that there's a battle of wills happening beneath her eyes as she just finally says, I don't like her, but I will. And she heads off into the crowd. Come on, girl, back this way. And she leads you into the back room of Red No. Now, normally in most clubs, the back room is literally just a space where the employees either have a bite to eat, take a break hiding from the public, and it's stacked, usually floor to ceiling, with various boxes and supplies. This back room, however, while it is all those things, it is so much more. There are racks upon racks of clothing. There are trays and plates of food for the clearly living staff. And most pressingly, in this backstage area, in this back area where the staff is free to be themselves, there are changing stations and booths to apply and fix makeup, full-fledged styling stations. And she leads you back past those. Now, here is the real treasure of the Red No. We take care of as many homeless as we can. You know, I got a friend in the Hounds that usually takes care of the really, really poor down and out. But we try to make sure that everybody looks fabulous. So if you were to come on a normal night and you didn't have anything to wear, we could find something for you. But tonight, you are in luck. Have you heard of Secundus, or whatever the name is? It means second. Though the poor girl, I must tell you, even as well as she has been styled and taught, she has such a work a day. Anyway, I'm not gonna gossip. So here, I should point you to a rack of a rainbow selection of blue frocks, dresses, shirts, pants, suits, and various other accoutrements. And then she points across the room from it, and there is a wall of shoes of various sizes. I can't guess about shoes. Me, myself, I tend to wear a larger size than it seems. But all the same, let's get you appointed. Now, I don't have any needs for additional privacy. You might, but you need to let me know, because otherwise I will definitely invade your space and be all up. Ooh, look at them lips. But all the same, take a look, find something that you like. We can't have you going out on the town looking any sort of way. You, after all, do represent all of us, no matter which and where you go, right?
That is very true. And again, much appreciated.
Oh, sure thing, girl. Don't worry about it. I will. Do you prefer girl? I prefer girl. I call everybody girl. Ads tells me all the time that he is not a ma'am. He is a man. But, you know, in the end, what does it really matter? I'll call you what you need, but it's just force of habit. So if I accidentally overstep, do let me know.
I will answer to anything you choose to call me. Gorgeous.
Look at you. She pats your shoulder. Oh, and muscled too. If I was only a few years younger, or a few years more wild. And there's a soft knock at the door, and without a response, Sophia is already opening it. And standing there before you is Secundus. She is absolutely gorgeous. Secundus is you can clearly see the well-defined Ghanaian or Nigerian features beneath the very light tone. Her eyes sparkling with a newness that you would not expect in the average kindred who had been inured to the life. Concordia, Secundus, Concordia. Secundus is one of the networks that we get from time to time, and Concordia is the queen's right hand of the south suburbs. I'm sure y'all will get along, especially being as you are heading out to Gary soon, right, Secundus? Secundus says, yes, I am. I need to take care of several things in that location. And she moves forward, offering her hand. Hi, I'm Secundus.
Concordia, but you would call me Dia. Please.
Sure thing, Dia. You can either call me Secundus, which is my death name that I was given, or you can call me Synethia.
That is a lovely name.
You know, I didn't like it growing up, but it kind of grew on me.
Well, if you would attend me and help me pick out something to wear and spend some time with me while I learn my way around this much larger place than I am quite used to, I would appreciate it. I was
not a problem.
in Milwaukee.
You were recently where?
Milwaukee.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so not all that much fun there.
Well, the Riverwalk isn't that bad, but yeah, no, I have learned to stay away from most of the areas like that. And then she looks at Razuli. Go on, talk, girl. You're amongst friends. Concordia is a very well-respected member of all of us. She is kin. But I'm going to leave you all to find your outfits. I would help, but I do realize that being as you two going to be spending a little bit of time together, it's probably time for you all to make nice and join, have conversation. When you all pick out your outfits, just meet me out front. You know where my booth is. Sophia, you going to stay or you going to go? All right, fine. Let's go get a drink. Now, girl, we ain't doing that tonight. You know what you did last time? And they make their way out of the room. Razuli clearly giving Sophia more than a polite, friendly dressing down. And as the door closes, you are left alone with Secundus. So, help you out and attend you. How thoroughly would you like me to attend you?
Wicked you are. But I've already eaten for the evening, so that's not it.
Well, just because you're full doesn't mean that you've been satiated. All the same, I'm thinking you should go with this one. She finds a frock that is paired with a pair of light slacks. It is a almost monochromatic look, but is more... There is a variation in the two colors, while similar and are not exactly the same. She holds it up against you as she looks over first the pants and then the top. Like, I'm not sure if you want your tops to be so highly defined. This will definitely show off the girls, but I'm not sure if that's what you're looking for.
I prefer a little bit of a looser fit. What about those there? And there's a somewhat more tailored pair of... I don't want to say crushed velvet, but kind of brocaded. Yeah, textured. Straight leg. Tight, slightly tight. It would probably be tight fitting on a man, but that's a look now. Pair of pants or slacks. What about that? And then we could pick out a shirt to tuck into it. Picking out one of the colors in it.
That's a good idea.
I will
so, Razuli was never really a fan of my sire, at least not initially. And with everything that happened, she doesn't know who my sire is. But I know, I remember her talking about him. So, what is it that she wants me to help you with?
Well, I have a slight problem of having two kindred that are very near death, and I need them nursed back to health and put back together so that we might continue our journey and our task. But I find myself short on hands due the nature of what just happened. Mind. And while I'm talking, I'm still looking through the rack and find a vest that's a solid color, but still one of the colors in the pants. And then I go for, of course, a pair of black boots.
I don't see that being a problem. Although, are you going to go with long hose? Do you have a garter already? Or are you going to go with short socks? And she begins looking at the hosiery that's provided. I'm willing to help, and part of my training, part of my experiences, in a different life, I actually was a nurse, so helping just comes naturally, I suppose. What about you?
Just an artiste.
I always wanted to be a singer. It just never worked that way. Never worked that way.
Quite the little bird getting going.
I must admit that working with Marion at the Lianan Club has given me a lot of opportunities to practice, but I'm still not quite where I would like to be. I can carry a tune, just not very far.
Intriguing. Well, perhaps on your journeys to Gary, I can give you a few lessons.
I kind of owe. That would be very, very helpful. I owe a favor to the former prince, and it sucks having to say former prince. Like, I just got accustomed to this life, and now everything has been changing so quickly. So,
wait.
So I'm gonna go.
Former prince. Thinking, I know she means Modius, I'm guessing.
Yes.
He's resurfaced, has he? Oh, interesting.
No, he's missing, but because Silk was formerly part of his inner circle, and she's there with a couple of others, I'm gonna go lend a hand and see if there's something I can do to try to repay the debt secondhand. Plus, my advisor, if you will, my faculty advisor, her child is there, so she wants me to keep an eye on him and help Silk, and because Gary's one of the 7 official Toreador cities. And forgive me for sounding like a travel brochure or sounding like Fromers, but I'm still new to all of this. I've only been dead just almost a year. So part of my training was the great clan cities that are ruled by us officially versus just behind the cover of darkness. And with Gary being one of the few that are openly ruled by us, Modius actually, he considered a failure, but a royal failure. I just don't see why everybody looked down on him. He helped me. Like, he saved my life. I'm sorry. I don't mean to burden you. We're here to help you. We're here to get you on track. Not for me to...
I enjoy a good backstory like most, so I have no problem listening to anything you might choose to share, but yes, I think it would be rude of us to keep our host waiting any further. So I will dress and we will exit and see if we can't get my friends fixed up.
I'm sure we can. Urzuli has connections all over the city, and I'm sure if she doesn't, that her friend Julian, which is actually Mama Weldy's friend, should be able to help us. He's plugged with the Chantry after all.
Not familiar with that name, Julian. Quite unusual, I would think, but so is Concordia.
I thought so too, because I swear, this is going to seem really weird, but I watched him and Razuli and Mama Weldy, and I could swear that he had a little bit of a tan to his skin. I would have liked to have the opportunity to tan and maybe style my hair before dying, but these things happen. Whoever was his sire clearly had the idea, right?
You can still style your hair, darling. I change mine all the time. I just don't cut it. That's
what I mean. I actually, I know with my hair down like this, it looks like it. No, I actually had, when I died, I actually had a full afro, a natural. And so I have to spend the first 2 hours every night straightening it and laying it, or either investing in a wig, and I don't like wigs.
That is understandable. But we don't get to choose when we die, now do we?
No, I suppose not. If we could, I really would have probably preferred to go a different way. Like, I don't know how painful your death was, but it was a mess. I don't even remember all of it, but from everything that Modius told me and everything that Marianne explained, it was a mess. It was horrible. I hurt a lot of people.
Oh, darling. Well, I don't remember my death all that well. It's been long enough that I think I've blocked it out, but I am so sorry. And they will, again, while speaking to them, go about dressing, going about freshening up, and they're not particularly shy about their body, but they know that they have to hurry up and get dressed so that they can get things moving. They've already wasted enough time trying to find a meal and money and things, so they want to hurry up. So clothing is changed, and they come back around from the shoe shelf with the boots and sit and tug them on and lace them up.
Cynthia settled on the couch and is watching, and in that moment, you can tell that it's not something that she's doing forcefully, but her aura does fill the space between you and her, and there is a certain overly sensual environment in place. And she looks on greedily as Dia concludes dressing.
They're tickled by the fact that, somebody as obviously visually beautiful as this creature is would find them attractive as well. Obviously, they know they're attractive, but it's still fun for them to find out that somebody is attracted to them. They take their hair loose of the messy bun, low at the back of their neck, shake it loose so that the very long hair falls to the bottom of their butt, and turning, "Would you do me the favor of braiding my hair?"
Of course. And she sets to the task, and it is clear that she is a practiced hand at it. In a few moments, you are almost completely done. The skill and speed that Synethia has is something to be a little jealous of. It's clear that during their living days, that they were quite skilled at adornment when it comes to the hair.
And they're going to look for those old school barrettes with the stick, and it's a piece of leather, but it has the stick through it to hold the leather on.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that, but more fancy.
Finding the correct one is actually far easier, considering that this is Urzuli's personal stash of things. As you two are completely dressed, it's without meaning to, looking at your ensemble and looking at Secundus's ensemble, it is clear that you two are a matching pair, not because you're wearing the same color, but because they complement each other so thoroughly. It would be easy to see you all as a singular entity.
Again, that's something that's kind of tickles. There's they come interesting and offers their arm like a true gentleman. To lead the mouth.
As you all make your way back towards the front, heading to Zuli's VIP booth with the West Indian or Jamaican or Caribbean individual. He looks like the standard, well-dressed pseudo-Caribbean individual. And nothing that particularly stands out. It seems different, but there's something about him. And he and Urzuli are exchanging hushed words and the soft, quick touches and holding each other's hands as they watch the happenings in the environment. You notice Bennett moving through the crowd, and Sophia is not far away, but she's quietly and hushedly speaking with another gentleman. He's about 5'6". He's on the thinner side. He's got a well-trimmed mustache, but his hair is close cropped. And while stylish, his sense of fashion is a little more classic than the others who are gathered neatly by.
Lean over to Cynthia or Secunda and ask who that is.
That looks like Zachary. Zachary Strong. He's one of the not quite autarchus, but also not completely tower. He seemed to have known my sire too, but it's funny. As much as Modia said that my sire was well known in New York, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't go there and I ended up in Indianapolis. Most people that I've spoken to, hinting around and seeing where they stand, don't have the best impression of him. So, everyone's concerned, Marion's my sire.
Now, with them hinting about their sire, would I have ever heard of their sire if I asked who it is? Out of character, obviously, there is a good chance, but
well, there is a chance, but unfortunately, status-wise, I don't think they rose to the level of catching Dia's attention.
No. But I'm gonna ask anyway, just in case I hear it again, and not to be in politic, but who is your sire?
I'll tell you, but Modius drove home the fact that I have to keep it to myself because of the way that I died. But if you promise to not reveal it to anyone else, I don't have a problem sharing it.
I do the miming of the zipping the lips and locking and throwing away the key.
And she leans in. Modius called him the African.
Doesn't quite ring a bell, but I will, while keeping the utmost confidence, see what I might hear about them if it ever comes across to me. But for now, Marius is your sire, right? Yes.
Marion, yes. Marion.
Marion. Sorry,
which is funny because you know
Marius.
You just have a thing for M's tonight, huh? Which is funny because Marion is actually Urzuli's child. So technically, Urzuli is my grandsire officially. Though, with my
I
sire,
would not call her that.
I know I would not dream of even accidentally offending her. Where I hear that she's been at war with one of our other members for the last decade and refuses to give in, even though he supposedly has Annabelle's ear and Annabelle's support. And with the loss of Modius, Urzuli doesn't have as much support as she needs to press her position. But, you know, you learn a lot from just listening.
Perhaps with her aiding me in my endeavor, I might, upon returning to Dalton, put in a good word with Nicole. Would that help Urzuli?
I think that it might, but I wouldn't offer unless, of course, you're sure that of the outcome from Nicole first.
Oh,
I'm sorry, forgive me. I know you've been at this a lot longer than me. It's just that, well, between Marion and Eletria's information, Marion's information network is just, you'd be surprised how much you can learn.
I would not necessarily, but yes, I do agree that I will not say anything to the sort unless I know for sure Nicole will agree. But one can only try, can they not?
I would. But first, helping Silk and our few members over in Gary and to lock down the city again, and then hopefully it won't take too long, and then I can maybe come back here. Because with my sire being dead, I don't have to fear that anymore. But anyway, and you guys wrap up your aside, you ease into the booth. Urzuli immediately clasp her hands together, looking at the both of you. Don't you all look darling? Oh my God. You all did a good job. You look great. And now that we look good and you feel good, let's see how we can make sure that you stay good. Now, both of you guys have a reason to need help. I know about why Marion sent you Secundus, so I'm not going to keep you long, but I know that this will be a good thing for you in terms of getting a grasp on things, because the way I hear it, oh my God, Gary is definitely not the place you want to be. I heard that they had... Anyway, we're not going to talk about that right now. We're here to talk about you, Concordia. So, girl, tell me how we can help. And then Secundus here is going to help get that accomplished. She's going to trial by fire, cut her teeth, and then we're going to get you on your way, because I understand that there's a lot of things going on down in Dalton too. But what do you need, Concordia?
Well, we are going to need a fair amount of blood, I'm assuming, due to the fact that it pains me to say this. They were dismembered and put in a box, and I was made to bring the box with me to Chicago.
Wow. Oh my God. That's just... Ooh, I heard that Decker was... I heard, but I was hoping that Deltonus and his child would have mellowed that man out. You know, we had a few of our sheriff and hounds head up there a couple of months ago. Way I hear, they came back in worse shape than they have ever been in. Just everywhere's just going downhill these days. So we need you to get some vitae, or are you looking for actual blood?
Well, whatever would put them right and whole, so that I might not be alone in my endeavors to continue our mission. We were sent with a mission, or they were sent with a mission, and I was sent to get them out of trouble.
Do you know what that mission was?
Princess needing rescue of some sort. Somebody's daughter was missing, and we are supposed to go hopefully retrieve them, but from what I heard, yeah, they went missing on purpose.
But if it's something that you are able to share, I will gladly listen. Maybe in finding what that mission was, we can help you get to what they were aiming for.
We have to take a trip to Indianapolis.
That's your neck of the woods, isn't it, Secundus? Oh, yeah. It is definitely where I most recently was, but I didn't really want to head home without making sure that I accomplished what. Oh, girl, you could always go home again. I don't know why everybody always says you can't. If you go home again, you're not gonna be the same person you were when you were there. So here's what we're gonna do. I have a friend. Well, I have an associate. I have someone that I know that might be able to help you with basic blood. Of course, it's gonna require some finances. And that's something that you all can arrange later. Sophia, I need you to take Secundus and Concordia to meet Sephora. Maybe line up something in terms of commission, and then we can get you all that much situated. She may need help and may need favors, but that's something that you all can take care of along the way. Now, while you and Concordia and Secundus take care of that, I will reach out and see if there's anybody that I can have to further assist you all and get you on your way. Because I don't know about you, but we have had not just friends become hounds, but there's a lot of, I don't want to say it too naughtily, but there's a lot of added backup coming in and helping them out lately. I know you done heard about the wolf pack coming back in the area.
Yes, I would not wish to cross paths with them.
No, that ain't good at all. And with that, Concordia, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your charisma and your persuasion? You get the benefit of having Secundus help you, and Sophia eyes lead the way, so you will add 2 die to that situation. It takes nearly most of the night, but you all do a couple of favors for Sephora. You all end up having Urzuli send assistance, and Lothair, which you know from Riverdale. And Lothair, which you know is one of the many associates in Riverdale, has ridden up to help offset so that you all can arouse and awaken Dami and Abner. So standing over Dami and Abner with the IV set up, forcing the blood into them, and Lothair volunteering his vitae along with Secundus. Dami, there's certain things that you don't want to ever have to live through again. There are certain things that you would much rather be ended over, and the punishments handed down by the Anubi are one of them. There's no quietly going for that sort of punishment, and you realize that as much as painfully emotionally as that punishment was, what Dawn visited upon you in Milwaukee was considerably far more destructive mentally. You survived that and you survived the physical, but of the two, the physical pain, the physical and its addition to the hundreds of years you spent lost in your own horrors, is not something you'd love to visit. Your eyes snap open, completely aware as to what's happening around you. You tear at the tape over your mouth and look into the face of Dia, Secundus, Lothair, and Sophia eyes in a dank, dim basement. Taking in the sight around you, you realize that while you lucked out, while you were not once more locked into that realm beyond realms that Abner in fact is, there is nothing there. His eyes are grayed over and cataract filled. Even with the blood being forced into him, you are sure that what remained or what might come back would not actively, effectively be Abner. Dia, with all of the favors called in, all of the work done, it seems a little anticlimactic only having one of the two back. But of the two, you are thankful that it was Dami who managed to survive the pain of that moment. It is a small blessing that you didn't lose the both of them, because it is clear with the ghost-like image cast on his face, the death-like pall still about him as his eyes emptily take in this moment around him, that it is just as damaging as it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a punishment that was just short of death, and it very much was.
I very purposefully, instead of wasting any further blood, knowing that Dami will probably be hungry, I stopped the IV going to Abner.
There's knowledge and there's acting on it. The moment that you stop the IV, you are confirming that you don't believe that Abner will ever return. And it is a tactically sound bit of action and a tactically sound thought, but there's a finality to it as well. And it is not lost on any of you all what that means. Secundus looks to you, and then to Dami, then to Abner. Having not had the opportunity to know or learn either of them, she's like, okay, coolness. And so now we have to get you guys on your way and get you out of the city as quickly as possible. Lothair, I'm sure you can help, but of course I can help. That is the reason why I'm here. Mr. Rosé, are you with us? And as he speaks, he draws out a pen light. He knows that the eyes won't constrict or contract, but he flashes it in Dami's eyes all the same. And he snaps his fingers. Secundus leans over to you, Dia. I've never had to watch this happen before. Is this normal?
I don't exactly know. I don't think so. They were injured before, and then now this. He might be having a hard time coming back, but I'm sure he will survive. On the other hand, and looking to Abner, do I know who their sire was? Or we didn't really talk about things like that, but would I just know offhand with them being from Dalton?
Not specifically. Having an idea that it's one of the rampant or politically connected freestanding members or advisors is about where that would end.
The reason I asked is would I know whether it'd be better to just put him back in the crate and send him back to his sire, or just destroy him and get rid of the body so that we don't have to keep taking it with us?
Well, you know that Nicole most assuredly can help, and if not, you can always send him to Dwayne.
Yeah, I'm gonna send him to Dwayne, since I know that was part of this whole situation of them being sent out and Dwayne being kind of their overseer in that situation. So getting the address put together and speaking to the other person, both are okay, so that we don't have to take the second body in this crate with us. This is the address I need it sent to, if that's possible. Close it back up, and I will write a note, and we will send it on its way.
If you think this is best, I will make sure that they get back to your Dalton. But perhaps maybe, I don't know, maybe Barry here. Maybe they just need time. Because I know as you all consider yourselves very independent and very free of all of these things, but my honest opinion is that this is not necessarily the end. Perhaps they just need time. After all, why death if we don't need? As Seferino is always saying, we kill when we must, not simply because we can.
Use it up. I understood the fact that they would not come back as Abner if they were to come back at all.
Maybe that might be for the best. Maybe it is better they are someone else.
You have no clue how true that is. Sorry. Oh, it's been a long trip. Okay, fine. We can try it your way.
I'm just offering suggestions. I still owe a favor to Nicole, so I think it would be better viewed by Nicole if I was not responsible for another kindred dying, if I could help it.
That is very true. But, again, she loves me, so I would vouch for you. But, yes, sure. We can experiment. No harm, no foul. If it doesn't work, then they will never rise. If it does work, then it will not be my problem.
That's a good reason. And then he goes back to Dami once more, snapping his fingers. Are we going to have to bury two?
No, I think I'll pass.
Ah, there you are.
Yeah, what happened?
These two lovely members of our clan have enlisted as many favors and as much aid as one could on short notice. I am not sure if you are aware. I'm Lothair. Lothair to my friends, Lothair to my enemies. I'm Lothair. Mr. Osei, I understand that you were formerly associated with quite a few members of the church. And the lovely Concordia and Secundus here are friends of Nicole. So you have, and then he looks to Concordia and Secundus, you have the pleasure of being roused back to active life because of Clan Toreador and the Anarchs of the Republic of Riverdale, if you would like to pay things forward.
Definitely. I do appreciate it, and I definitely would like to pay you back.
Excellent. Keep this moment in mind. I'll go and find a good place to bury this one. You all seem to have things you need to discuss. And with that, Lothair slinks out of the basement and just outside. David, still shocked and in a depressive state, looks as if he has seen horrors upon horrors, which he has. Care of Dawn.
So Dia, what happened?
You mean to tell me you don't remember being chopped into tiny pieces?
No, not really.
Well,
yeah.
Let's just say that we were kidnapped by, I'm assuming, the Vanguard after we got to the morgue, taken and interrogated, and Abner, in his infinite idiocy, decided that he would take the blame for everything that we were accused of. And you also decided to confuse the matter and say that you as well did it. Well, but they said that both would have to go in the box because neither would say who did it. And while I tried to talk them out of it, they insisted that this was the only way. So I and David were led away, and what I'm assuming happened, based on the way they brought you to me, that a fight happened. You attempted to do some manner of escaping, and then there was a random person that showed up out of nowhere that was supposedly supposed to help, but they are no longer here. They disappeared somehow. Member of the Tremere, I assume? I don't know for sure. But they were very quiet and very magic-y and very much hurt. So, Once that happened, you were handed over, chopped into pieces in a box, along with Abner, and they gave me 15 minutes to leave the city with the van and the cargo box. The closest place was Chicago. I came here knowing I could get aid, smiling at Segunda, and I woke this morning and set about to getting you put back together and made whole. It seems Abner had suffered too many injuries and is probably really dead. But as you, I'm sure, heard, they want to try and revive him. But again, it's not my problem.
Gone. Unfortunately, because he was in torpor sometime earlier today, and I gave him my blood to wake him up. So I think he might be gone.
Agreed. But we still have a mission. I am not going back to Dalton in disgrace, despite everything that happened recently.
Well, I'm good with going with you because, I don't like being chopped into small pieces that didn't agree with. So, I don't like going back in disgrace. But there is a small problem. Two of our
they made sure that all the pieces were there.
Well, two of our coteries.
I know. Abner and Everett, yes.
Well, you guys are heading to. Well, you guys are heading to Indianapolis, and that's been my home for the bulk of this last year. I can at least show you around before heading to Gary.
Darling, that would be a wonderful idea. Thank you so very much. And then I again kiss their hand.
You are a tease. You very much remind me of my sire from time to time. You do realize that, Dia.
Ooh. I hope that's a good thing.
Well, outside of the killing me part, it was great. It was wonderful. Like, he really knew how to scratch that itch. But enough of living vicariously in the past. Mr. Osei, Lothair called you Mr. Osei. I'm Secundus. At least that's what everyone calls me. You may have heard me, you may not. But I guess being as you're a friend of Dia, my real name is Sanethia. And she extends her hand. And her image is up in our little dice area where you roll your dice. You can take a look at what she appears to be, what she looks like.
Oh, Sanethia. Hi. Clan Toreador, huh?
Really? It's fine. I would much rather be Toreador than anything else in the world, especially being as I have forever to be almost as lovely as Concordia.
Such a charmer. Unfortunately, David.
What happened to my health?
Is not quite right. We all lost things, dummy. I lost my Bentley and my clothing. Do you know how expensive my items were? My credit cards, all left behind.
I understand.
Well, I can also.
But about my cat,
I can also, being as we're heading to my neck of the woods, I can set you all up with some additional papers and some cash if you all are trying to recoup your losses. Provided I can call on you guys for a potential favor or help later.
You have been such an angel to me. Of course, I will owe you a boon.
Sounds like a plan. I'm good with it.
All right.
I've never met a Toreador, so sure.
What do you mean you've never met a Toreador? And she does the whole Will Smith up and down towards Concordia. Really? You can't tell?
He's being dense.
I just freaking out.
There is something to be said about a certain classical beauty. I can see that. But let's get everybody on the way, and we can't be using this. And she points to the van that you all drove here in. That is clearly not up to the standard. You mentioned Bentley and you mentioned Hellcat. So give me 20 minutes and then I'll be back with our ride. I have to go get my vehicle and we can drive to Indianapolis from there. And you guys can tell me on the way why you're going to my neck of the woods. And with that, she exits. And you can, as she opens and closes the door, you can hear Lothair busily digging. And while you all didn't get much chance to really associate with Lothair, it is clear that he very much is borderline stereotypical in his toreadorness, except for he's willing to break down and get a little dirty. You're sure that if you were to open that door and look outside, he would be draped in a light sheen of sweat, his shirt off and glistening in the moonlight, striking the correct pose as he shovels one shovel full of dirt after the other.
I'm gonna go pause and peek out the door.
It is very much exactly that, and his beard and his hair slicked back as he shovels, striking the correct and accurate pose to catch as much of the moonlight as possible and strike as startling of a pose as one would need to jot it down into memory, to sketch it out and make it a painting. He very much is overly stereotypically toreador.
Oh, there will be a painting. There will be a painting. And they turn back around and come in, fanning themselves. Now, as I was attempting to point out, David is not feeling quite himself, it seems.
That's not good. What happened to him?
I think the amount of things that have happened to you all have put him in a bit of catatonic state. He's very depressed. He was very broken up about what happened last night. So, yeah, that is where we are.
Well, do you still have the tablet? Did we give that to your friend in Milwaukee?
I didn't even give them the tablet. You still had it. You just showed it to them. I think we probably would have had it on us when we went to the morgue, but I don't know whether they would have taken it or not when they patted us down.
Do we still have the tablet?
Yeah, it was tossed back in the box. It's, as far as they're concerned, it's junk, it's dead, and they're not as caught up with modern technology as they should be. They literally tossed it.
Can it be salvaged?
Oh, it definitely can be salvaged. All it needs is power. You need a Type-C charger.
Do I have it?
You have a wall of chargers back at your home in Dalton. However, on you at the moment, you have the remnants of your clothing, the spilled vitae that you all lost while they removed your limbs, and you have Concordia. And soon you'll have Secundus returning with a vehicle to drive you into Indianapolis.
I'm sure while we were out doing things, I would have managed to pick up a charger for my phone because it's my lifeline right now, seeing as how I don't have anything else.
Yes, you do. There could, and he could very well potentially strip it down and hotwire it and get the tablet charged, if that is the end run for the moment. Or you can stop along the way, because it is a few hour drive to get from where you are on the northwestern side of Chicago to Indianapolis.
Okay, yeah, then we'll definitely stop along the way, because I'm assuming he would also want to get some new clothes as well, because you don't want to drive around looking like basically zombie. What he does. Yes, the zombie.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I want some clothes and a charger. Yeah, I can see that. Unfortunately, I don't need a phone, but yeah, definitely.
And a few moments later, Lothair enters, somehow glistening in sweat, even though you know as a kindred you typically don't, in fact, sweat. Unless, of course, you spend the time to rouse the blood to have autonomic responses. And judging by how flesh-looking his actual skin is, it is clear that he has roused to appear more human, even though there's no one here but other kindred. And he stops in the door, allowing himself to be properly framed, the shovel hanging loosely from his left hand before he enters. I believe the way that I am done, it is deep enough for him to sleep in the dirt for as long as he needs.
Thanks.
Well then.
Typically, I don't mind a certain amount of physical labor. I do, however, would not like to leave any traces of my personal vitae. Would you be so kind, Mr. Osei, as to deposit your associate?
Sure. I'll go and jump Abner into the large deep hole.
The moment that you lift and carry him out, there is a lightness to him that you are sure you know what it means. The lightness of being that comes from very much being gone. And as you're depositing Abner into his long home, his final rest, Lothair waits until you have exited outside the door, and then he moves to you, Concordia. It would be my pleasure to be able to call on you. I believe that there is much that we might discuss at leisure.
It's rare that Concordia is speechless, but she's very much girly right now. If they could blush, they would blush, and they're not going to waste rouse to blush, but they're very much blushing, and nod that would be amenable to them, and gives Lothair their number.
I will cherish the moments until we have the opportunity to once again be in each other's company. Having deposited Abner and heading back in, Lothair steps back. Mr. Osei, glad that you are back amongst us. If it is amenable to you both, I will see to your catatonic friend and make him a place to reside.
I would appreciate that. I really would. Take care of him. I appreciate it. Thank you.
But of course, and he inclines his head with a soft bow and moves to David, crouching down in front of him, first snapping his fingers, then lifting his chin. There's a moment of severe contemplation till he finally helps David up to his feet and leads him out the door. There is a finality that settles over Dami and Dia that this very well may be the absolute last time that you all see David. And as Segundas arrives back, you realize that yes, she very much is a new kindred, and she very much has maximized her time as a kindred. Instead of it being a classic beauty such as the Hellcat or the Bentley, it is in fact a Maybach, and it is a 4-door testament to sheer outrageous luxury. So you know that your drive from here to Indianapolis will be not only in style, but in complete and total comfort. As you all hit the highway, unknowing as to what the adventure may bring to you all, we will end this season on the note of new beginnings and new happenings going forward. I want to thank you all. It's been a lovely few seasons, and I look forward to what Dalton may wreak moving forward. I'll have points and experience points for you guys in the next few days, and then we can talk over a few things via post from there, okay?
Sounds good. I had a good time. Thank you. Good night.
You're welcome. Good night, everybody.
Good night.